I'm not an expert on anything. I have some opinions and observations I'll make, and please share yours, okay? Because many of you have kids, grandkids, and some of you have even been kids yourself, probably, right? Uh, so yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Because it's kind of a serious subject. It can be, and there are some maybe some pitfalls. There's some cautions we all need to be aware of. Just different things, but again, of course, some of the most obvious fundamentals I think are to well, there's two things. Well, there's a lot of things, but one is the safety issue, and the other is just getting kids involved in shooting and how to do that the best way and all that. Let's talk about that first, maybe. And I don't know, share your thoughts. With John, I started him early, and as soon as he could handle a gun, I was almost like one of those far leftist loony parents. You know, I wasn't sure. I wanted him to have toy guns for a while, even squirt guns or anything like that, because he grew up here on a shooting range. I knew he would be shooting, handling, pointing real guns early on. And I really did for a while. I just didn't, I don't think I bought him any toy guns for a while. And I kind of got over that. But I just said, well, there's no need for him to have to make that transition, you know, from going around shooting people with a squirt gun or cap guns, whatever it is, to all of a sudden, here's a real gun when you're 3 or 4 to shoot on the range. But I did when he had toy guns. I tried to instill in him an awareness of, you know, no need to point that at people. I mean, he didn't have any brothers or sisters, and he and I weren't running around like I did as a kid, playing cowboys and Indians or army and shooting at each other like we all did with sticks or guns or toy guns or whatever. So other places he might have done that, but not really a lot of that, I don't think. So anyway, that was one of my issues, and that is an issue, right? And with my grandson, I talk about that when he's got a toy gun or something, he's pretending to be a gun or a squirt gun, or squirt guns, of course, that's what you do. You shoot each other with them, but just in general, just randomly pointing a gun, a toy gun or something at somebody, I always discourage that, you know, kind of get him thinking about that, you know. Because, and I would tell John that look, you're going to be able to shoot BB guns and then real guns right here on the range, like Dad does and everything. And so, you know, he sort of, I think, understood the reasoning, you know, for some of that pretty early on. But you know, that's kind of nebulous. You know, I don't have really strong feelings about that. A lot of kids, 99% of their exposure to firearms, you know, for the first 10, 15 years is going to be just toy guns and all that kind of thing, airsoft. And so, you know, what's the other one? You run around and shoot each other. The paintball, or you go to here I'm bringing up things I don't know anything about. What is it called? Laser tag. Yeah, it came to me too. But you know, things like that, you're just going to be shooting at each other, and you just have to know the difference, right? Just like when you're driving or anything else, you know where it's dangerous and where it's not. But with kids, you know, they all think they're bulletproof, and even teenagers and young kids just don't know anything yet. So you have to be aware of all that. And that would be my advice. Just be cognizant of that and how you're letting them randomly point every toy gun they have at your head all the time or something. Maybe you start teaching them a little bit early on that kind of thing. And I think when they're old, that's really young, but when they get old enough to actually hold a firearm and shoot, and that could be, you know, depending on their size and what gun you're talking about, BB gun, airsoft, 22, whatever, it could be 3, 4, 5 years old, whatever, then it becomes more critical. And I think, yeah, as early as you can, show them what a bullet will do to something. I would shoot water jugs and things and make sure John realized how deadly, damaging, dangerous any bullet is. And, you know, that muzzle discipline, as soon as you can start, you know, drilling in that muzzle discipline, which really does start kind of with the toy guns, the better. the better. And then as soon as they touch a real gun, that finger discipline, trigger finger discipline, and all that kind of thing, and that muzzle discipline. You've seen our video on the I forget what it's called now, but where I start out by waving an airsoft gun around, and to make that point, and even scratch my head, looks like a real Glock, and while I have it in my hand, all kind of things, kind of demonstrating bad gun handling, with that. And that's an airsoft Glock. That's what that was. It didn't even have the mechanism really to work. It's funny, near the end of that, a bug flew out around it. It looked like a pellet or something came out of it, so that, and people to this day still comment on that, thought it was loaded. No, it was actually, if you look at that again, it was a highly coordinated bug of some kind flew it, and it looked like it came out the barrel. But muzzle discipline, all that kind of stuff is really important. I think it's good, as a lot of people will advise with a spouse, to get another adult involved, that someone's really good at it, gun handling and that kind of thing, so that it's not just more discipline from dad or mom, because their entire lives they hear us tell them what to do, what not to do. Be careful now, wear your jacket or whatever it is, and so that moves on to, now be careful you point that gun. Yeah, you want to keep it from that, right? Not just another caution, like they hear every day about something. Be careful on those stairs. Don't walk with those scissors, or I think there needs to be a next step somehow. However you do that, it needs to be maybe fairly dramatic. Maybe it is the first time you're out on a range. You do take something, if you can do it. You shoot a 2-liter, you shoot a gallon jug with something, and you show why you're so serious about this. And you prep them for it. This is not funny, no funny business here. We're going to have fun, but this is very, very serious, and